What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor. Welcome to the week of Hero Zero. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking one comic book character, as we do every single week. We talk their good points, their bad points, and just generally give you a bit of a rundown with anything to do with that comic book character. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun. Shaun, how's it going?
I'm good. Speaking of characters, couple of characters right here on this show.
Oh, sorry, what? Can you hear that in the distance? People clicking off the episode. Can you, what an intro.
How do you make a phone click? A touchscreen phone?
So me and Shaun are not in the same room together now. Apologies if this is more common over the Christmas period. We are very busy. We don't live together, so that makes it difficult to meet up. But
which I'm still a little bit pissed about that. But
I do miss your lovely, beautiful big brown eyes. Was there too many?
Whose eyes did you have?
Look, sometimes I try and it gets blood put back into my face, you know what I mean?
That's why you never try.
You've got, I love your face and the way you have one.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So we have just spent, not many people know this, but I rang Shaun like 20 minutes ago, and we've spent the last 20 minutes discussing weird news stories that we've done for the last year. So anyone who doesn't know, some people only listen to Hero Zero and they don't listen to weird news.
And that's fine.
That's fine, but we are doing a weird news roundup at the end, so our top 10 weird news stories for January. And basically we realised that we have done so many that I keep
at least
me and him
52 this year.
at least 52. So if we do eight stories an episode for 52 weeks, that's like, whoa, nobody can do that, maths. Not even a calculator.
416.
Well done, buddy. So, I love your brown eyes. Okay, so we need like a top 10. So we were just kind of like throwing. Do you remember that one? Just to try and figure out. So if you have any stories that is your favourite, I know this has nothing to do with Hero Zero. Just send them our way through the email or through the Twitter. Send them in, because we would greatly appreciate the help, because we have to siphon through and filter through all these stories. And some of them, I'll be honest with you, Shaun, some of them are absolute dog shit, because we are not amusing.
But some of them are absolutely amazing. So if you take an average, they're generally grand.
Generally a solid 5 out of 10. So speaking of 5 out of 10s, my hero this week, Shaun, I have chosen a man that was heavily rumoured to have his own movie in the future.
Flash.
Not actually. That is also heavily rumoured. Yes, it is Ezra Miller I'm doing this week.
Ezra Miller.
The man. No, I am going to be doing the comic book character known as Plastic Man. Shaun, what do you know of Plastic Man?
From what I know of Plastic Man, we've talked about him a bit in Movie Mondays, in that he might be getting his own DC movie.
Yes, before The Flash, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely before The Flash.
Yeah.
But does he have like Mr. Fantastic powers, that he's stretchy?
He does have Mr. Fantastic powers, and he was created back in the 40s, so I mean, he's been around a very long time.
Yeah, is he a Golden Age guy that's just kind of stuck around? He's
a Golden Age guy who started off at a different comic book branch, I suppose. Branch is the right word.
Okay.
And
like Shazam.
Yeah, like Shazam, and then over the years that company was bought out and it basically just integrated into DC. So he became a DC hero through that.
Okay, well, I'm glad he's still here, because now I get to hear a lovely report on him.
Of course, and who's going to be doing the lovely one? Because I'm doing a fucking dog show one. So,
no.
He's Plastic Man. Plastic Man, he's fucking bendy. Alright, talk to his after, lads. So Plastic Man started off at Quality Comics, which they basically wanted to design him because they wanted a comedic character, and and so they created him to be like our big comedy guy. Plastic Man's going to be our comedy guy that's going to get the kids involved.
And of course, Plastic was just coming into the mainstream at this time.
And Plastic was absolutely massive back then. So what they did was, cleverly, they were like, right, what are everybody using? Plastic that will eventually destroy the world, but they didn't know it at the time. And they thought, let's make a man out of plastic.
He'll live forever at the bottom of the sea.
I actually
hate Aquaman.
we will get back to he's just always choking fish, so he can't get him away from it. Don't bring him to an aquarium, you will get kicked the fuck out. But he actually was the second best selling comic for Quality Comics in the 50s.
After who?
It never said. I never found out who was first, but he was their second best selling comic of the 50s.
Fossil Fuel Man was number one.
Fossil Fuel Man. Coal Boy. So him and Coal Boy were head and head, just battling it out at the top for number one spot. He came in number two. He was massive and very popular at the time. So it was also under Vital Comics. I read a lot of Quality Comics was the original thing, and then Vital Comics was also on some of the front covers. So I don't know if they are the same or if they melded together at some stage. I'm sure somebody will clear that up. But eventually DC purchased the rights to that comic book company, because eventually it would just lead to Marvel and DC would just become monopolies over the whole thing.
And Dark Horse is also there, just like eating paste in the corner.
I apologise. So as I will get into his origin now, but I just wanted to say that because he started off in a different comic book, and it's sometimes they bought out.
I thought you were going to say he started out in a different time.
It was a different time. It was a different time. He hated women and anyone who wasn't a white man.
Alright, and what's changed?
Oh, very political. Yes, on the nose, huh? Well, lads, we're living in a time, okay?
Look, we're woke.
So, us two side boys, we love Plastic Man here, right? So, what I will say is that he was very funny, and DC purchased the rights to him. Now, they purchased the rights to loads of characters, but they looked at him and they said he could be our comedy character, and so he was one of the ones that survived the integration into the DC world.
Was there a lot of them that just went by the wayside, never were heard from again?
Very much so. There was lots of either World War II characters who were all commanders, or characters who were normally around the time Batman was created. Everybody was basically just a guy who was in the darkness and used a gun. That was was a lot of characters, because they all just came up with it.
I get that was because he used to just be a man in a trench coat, so it's just the evolution of that, I suppose.
Yeah, and so what happens is they all just copy off each other. So Plastic Man came up, and now we will get into his actual origins within the comics. So, in the 1940s, a crook named Patrick Eel O'Brien, the Eel.
The Eel O'Brien. Is he an Irish man?
It's never said, but he's called Patrick O'Brien, so we can only assume he is.
Good old Paddy.
Oh, good old Paddy O'Brien. But the Eel is a great name for a gangster.
Oh yeah, because you're slippery, they can't catch you, you're delicious on toast.
They're always saying that in The Sopranos. My God, he'd be great on toast.
No, they're saying he's toast. They're trying to kill that man.
Sorry, no, I misheard you. You're right. So Patrick Eel O'Brien was he was doing a robbery, as all criminals do in the 40s. Everyone knows that.
You rob a bank, and then you loudly shout your name as you drive away.
Eel away, he said. So Patrick Eel O'Brien was on a robbery in a factory when a security guard turned up, and the security guard shot Patrick Eel O'Brien.
Oh my God.
Now, where was this factory? I know you hear you ask. What gave everybody powers in the 40s, Shaun?
It's not nuclear waste, is it?
The security guard for the Crawford Chemical Works.
Oh no.
Why are all these criminals trying to rob fucking chemicals?
How common are chemical processing plants?
How are you going to sell that on? So Crawford Chemical Works, their security guard wasn't too happy that the eel was in his area, and he struck. So he shot Patrick, and then Patrick was struck by a falling drum full of unidentified acid, some of which entered his wound. Okay?
Acid in the wound doesn't sound like a cure.
But chemical acid in the wound sounds like superpowers.
Essentially medicine, yes.
Essentially. Should we bandage it up? No, get the chemicals. So this is kind of... Up until this point, it's all fairly common for 1940s. He falls into a batch of chemicals and he just becomes superpowered. But where it gets weird is that he was saved in Resthaven by a mysterious order of monks.
Oh, I'm liking this.
Whose example cured his penchant for crime. So the monks saved him. And through this, they said, don't be doing any crime. And he said, I've got basically fucking radioactive skin, lads. Could you give me a hazmat suit, something? Anything, lads.
Oh, this robe, though.
Yeah. So the acid bath that he had taken gave him the ability to change his shape whenever he wanted. And so he was healed by these monks, and they led him on the path of righteousness. They said, you can use these new bendy, floppy powers for the good of the big man above, instead of doing it for your gangster friends.
Okay. Did the monks say that, like, that was the exact quote? Or...
That's an exact excerpt I took from a 1940s comic.
See, I'm sure because it was 1940s, it was all over the top.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Really hammering home what the point was.
But you're like, Daredevil is the same. Like, I think it was just... When was Daredevil created? I'm sure around the 50s?
Yeah.
So I think
Probably.
it was a common thing to be saved by monks, and then they set you on the right way.
I'll allow it.
So, unfortunately, these monks saved him on the night where he became radioactive. So, whatever shape he took, the colours remained the same. So there would be a red and yellow chandelier over a table full of plotting gangsters, or a red and yellow painting hanging on the wall. But the villains never caught on until it was too late, Shaun.
I see. They're all colourblind.
Yeah. It doesn't actually say that, but he only attacks colourblind villains.
It's a very weird form of racism.
Yeah. There's a guy murdering someone down the street. He's like, no, he can see colours. Leave him.
He can tell blue and yellow apart.
I'll be useless. So he's red and yellow, like really bright red and yellow, and he wears sunglasses. But like at the same time, if you're red and yellow and you can bend, so really he can't become anything that's not red and yellow without being found out almost immediately.
That's true. Like he can't. Like I'm trying to work out the logistics of this. Can he become like a truck?
He could become a truck, but it would have to be a red and yellow truck that looks slightly like him.
All right. Okay. I'm interested.
Can I ask you a question then? What about Mr. Fantastic?
Mr. Fantastic can't transform himself. He can just stretch and flatten himself.
Okay, right. So Plastic Man, then, you know what you're thinking. So you have this guy, he's very bendy. He was around, but not... He didn't have any major stories at this time, because a lot of his stories were just he caught the criminal by being bendy. He turned into a picture. Criminal walked past. He came out and just punched him in the head.
Yeah, it's just like, that man is a lamppost. Isn't that gas?
So Plastic Man needed a sidekick. I know what you're thinking.
Of course.
You need
Fossil
to add
fuel boy.
the ozone layer. Wait, he's gone. So Plastic Man, sometimes called Plas, later acquired a sidekick called, this is quite possibly the best name for a sidekick, Woozy Winks.
Woozy Winks.
Woozy Winks.
Wait, let me guess Woozy Winks.
Okay.
Do they have the power to put people to sleep?
No, this power is actually very specific, because Woozy Winks is a clumsy oaf who was originally magically endowed with the power that nature itself would protect him from ever being harmed.
Jesus, that's useful.
It's very useful. It's the Mr. Magoo.
Or it's like Domino.
Yeah, basically Domino's power.
Just look, like, it'll always work out for you.
So no matter what the situation is, he could be in a room full of chainsaws slowly coming towards him. There would just be some sort of way that he could get out of that without being harmed, and he wouldn't even have to do anything.
That's so good and useful.
Yeah. So Woozy became... And this is where the report gets a little mean. This is an exact line. Woozy became a dumb but loyal friend to Plastic Man. No need for the dumb.
It's the best kind of friend. That's why you keep me around, because I'm loyal.
Not the first bit.
Look, I'm just trying my best.
Yeah, we're all just trying our best, Shaun. So the two of them became members of the police squad and eventually the FBI in the comic book run. Because I mean, the FBI would like a man who could just fucking turn into anything and could stretch and bend.
That's the thing. If the FBI would if comics were real, the government would snap everyone up immediately.
Yeah.
So I buy this. I'm allowing it again.
So this is where it gets very interesting, because at the request of President Franklin Roosevelt, Plastic Man helped bring together the All-Star Squadron, aided them in stopping Per Degaton's plan to force America to fight the war on a third front. And on one occasion, Plastic Man even impersonated Roosevelt himself to foil a Nazi assassination plot.
Was he red and green, though?
No, he wasn't.
So, but what?
No, he was red and yellow.
Red and yellow, sorry, red and yellow.
Yeah.
I'm too Christmassy at the minute.
Yeah.
So was Franklin Roosevelt just red and yellow when he met this Nazi?
I think if he changes into a different set of clothes, I'm assuming he can just, do that. Like, if you just put on a suit and tie that Roosevelt would have worn and then he transforms into him, I think he's fine. It's just that he has a red and yellow suit when he's just dressed up to be a superhero.
Oh, I see, okay. Would you not... look, I'm not going to question the man's choices.
What, you're going to change into a lamppost? How are you actually going to put a lamppost outfit on before you change into one?
Just wear something versatile.
Okay.
Alright, grey jacket, fucking blue slacks, you'd be grand.
Navy goes with everything except black.
Except black. Maybe just wear black.
Maybe black. Simple. During World War II, he also joined the Freedom Fighters. Plastic Man's exploits after World War II are largely unknown, though he was remembered decades later by individuals such as Robbie Reed, who once transformed into a copy of Plastic Man with his H-dial. Because of their powers, Plas and Woozy have stayed youthful into modern times.
Because they're made of plastic and...
lucky?
And they're lucky. Nature fixes them.
This is one of those comic book things where you're just like, alright.
Just go with it, it's easier.
Plastic Man became well known as a superhero again in the modern heroic age. Strangely, decades later, Patrick became a good friend of Batman, despite Batman's lack of sense of humour and skepticism towards reformed criminals.
So he's just such a good guy that even Batman likes him.
Even Batman has to begrudgingly be this guy, he gets the work done.
So has he never slipped back into crime then? Has he just been straight and narrow since he met the monks?
They were really convincing monks.
I can't stress this enough, Shaun.
I don't know if you're fully getting to grips with what the level I'm talking here. There was a PowerPoint presentation, I can only assume.
Did the monks make the PowerPoint?
Yeah. One of them is a whiz at Microsoft Word.
He's clippy.
Yeah. No, they just literally gave him a book, and it was 2 pages long, and on one side it had crime bad and it had superhero stuff good, and he had to look at it and he was like, wow, okay,
you've convinced me every day for a decade.
Yeah, he's about to murder someone. He's like, hang on, I better check my notebook. Wait.
That's his code.
Yeah, Batman has his code, Plastic Man has his. We all have codes. He's also been an occasional member of the Justice League.
Jesus, this man is... For someone who was essentially just a criminal, and then he was a guy... he has no powers beyond the transformation. He's not a great fighter or anything, is he? No,
he's just bendy. Can transform into things, kind of lengthen out his arms and his legs, become flat, stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty good to be on a team of essentially gods.
I mean, but at the same time, he's pretty much a god as well, because Like, I think it might have a little bit of the Mr. Fantastic role where he can't be harmed. Like, is it not a thing where Mr. Fantastic, his brain can't be harmed because, like, it'll just, like, grow back to the normal size or something like that? Did I read something like that?
Probably somewhere along the line, but like
some bullshit that, like, in himself, like, he can't break his bones because he doesn't have any bones.
Yeah, well, like he will divert a load of extra tissue to the place that you're punching, if you get me, to protect himself.
So he's just healed.
Yeah, or he just straight up doesn't take damage in the first place.
Now, this is very interesting that we talked about this, because I actually have a little story that I have two little stories here that actually count to that point, because in a mission, Patrick and the JLA Patrick, by the way, is the eel, of course.
The eel.
Patrick and the JLA went back 3,000 years into Atlantis's past. Into Atlantis? What's the plural of Atlantis? Atlantises?
Into the past of Atlantis.
Thank you. Into the past of Atlantis, where Plas was ripped apart during a fight when they went back there.
Ripped apart?
Ripped apart. But the thing is, like, he could just grow back, so it's fine.
Sure, it'll take him years to break down anyway.
Take years to break down. Yeah, he has to kill a few fish before he goes. So the JLA returned to the present, thinking that he was dead. But in the time gap, the 3,000 years, he pulled himself back together under the sea. So Batman and Firestorm found him and helped him complete the process. Traumatized, he blocked Plastic Man from his mind. Plastic Man became Ralph Johns. So he was so traumatized by that situation, he basically blocked his own identity out of his own head.
Right, so he couldn't accept the fact that happened to him.
Well, if you live under a sea for 3,000 years and you're ripped apart and you're slowly crawling to your legs...
Oh, that's terrifying as well, because presumably he's suffocating the entire time.
But he can't suffocate, because, like, his lungs they're fine. Like...
That's fucked, man.
It's kind of like Wolverine in is it Days of Future Past?
Oh yeah, where he's trapped. Well, yeah, he's trapped underwater through rebar and everything like that.
Yeah, and so he actually became Ralph Johns, and he went back to his family in Chicago. Emotionally, they took him in. So he became an average Joe, a father, and he was just in a relationship, just like a normal dude.
And that's where he is to this day.
No, that's not where he is to this day. But that was a story that he was involved in, that he literally, like, he went and he had this traumatic experience that he just forgot. He just was like, fair enough, that's fine. I'll just block out my memory that I was ever Plastic Man. He still has the powers. Yeah,
but he's not Plastic Man anymore.
His brain isn't open to the fact that he can open those powers, so he never uses them.
Do you know what it reminds me of as well? Is that in... it's either the second or third Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the one you really love.
Yeah.
But Will Turner is talking to his dad, and he says that, and you remember at this point in the story, his dad is cursed with immortality.
How could I forget?
So they tied cannonballs to his boots, and they put him to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah. And so he was just alive, but couldn't breathe or die for that whole time.
Yeah, very similar to that.
The exact same, essentially.
I would say that is a mirror image of what's happened, except he wasn't ripped in half. So technically not in any way similar, and you're fucking wrong. And don't you ever bring up Pirates of the Caribbean in my presence again.
The fourth one's not that bad.
Okay, what? That is the craziest thing you've said. The first one is amazing. We're not getting into it.
We're not getting into it. We do this every week.
When Martian Manhunter was also possessed by a Martian demon and tried to destroy the world, Batman came asking for his help, as he was immune to telepathy. Because
why is he immune to telepathy?
No, Plastic Man is immune to telepathy.
That's what I mean. Why is he immune to it?
I don't know. See, it's never really explained. It's just kind of like he's just immune to it. So Martian Manhunter is, of course, taken over by the demon, and he's just trying to destroy the world. Now, Martian Manhunter is one of the most powerful superheroes, and he uses a lot of telepathy, so he probably just drives everyone insane around him.
Okay, I know very little about Martian Manhunter, but that sounds cool as hell. We
will do a Hero Zero on him, but Batman is like, clearly nobody else can stop him other than you, but you're Ralph Johns with your normal family and friends. So Batman went to his house to basically try and convince him to be like, snap out of it. And after spending precious time trying to get him to remember who he was, Batman left Ralph to think it over. After staring out the window thinking about everything, Flash remembered who he really was after his son revealed his inherited powers and told him a joke. So his son... His son has also got the powers, and he told him a joke, and he went, wait a minute, I'm Plastic Man, because he wanted to steal the limelight from his superpowered son.
Yeah, like, presumably the kid did a very small thing, and then this dude was like, oh, I can do better than that.
Overcompensate. Look how far I can stretch my arm.
So Plastic Man is essentially a bully, correct?
Oh, no, I think we always turn everyone into bullies, but I'm sure he's a nice man. After defeating the rogue Martian Manhunter, O'Brien started a new life, balancing his hero life and his family life from Ralph John. So he's actually living both lives simultaneously.
Right, okay. And is he keeping up the identities, or?
Now, once again, this is all pre-New 52. So I don't know what the canon has been changed to now, because, as we always say, there's a lot more canon if we go back before that. And just a very small thing, in a massive prison breakout by the Secret Society of Supervillains, Plastic Man was a responder to Blackgate Penitentiary, where he fought Clayface, which I think would be a very good fight. And during the Battle of Metropolis, he actually punched out the leader of the Secret Society of Supervillains, which was Dr. Psycho, and he was the one who punched him out. So he actually has a lot more stories than you would think, where he's kind of the main man and he gets the final blow.
Yeah, he sounds like he's just like a solid... I suppose if it was an army, he'd be just a solid general kind of thing. Like, you can trust him to get the job done.
Yeah. So, his powers and abilities. He has malleable physiology. Man, that was... I had to learn that a few times.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. First time as well. I'm very proud of myself.
I know,
I can read.
Confidence.
Nobody ever says malleable with confidence. Malleable physiology. Plastic Man's powers are derived from an accident in which his body was bathed in an unknown industrial chemical mixture. It's always unknown. You don't need to know about it.
Just it happened.
It happened, right? This caused a body-wide mutagenic process that transformed his physiology. Eel exists in a fluid...
nailing it today.
Thank you. And some days I'm like, the house. Eel exists in a fluid state, neither entirely liquid or solid. Plastic Man has complete control over his entire molecular structure. Oh, fucking hell. Nailed it.
Jesus, man. You're a fucking thesaurus on wheels.
So, he has elasticity and plasticity. Oh, fucking hell. He can stretch his
limbs. It's like a vocal warm-up.
How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Okay, we're ready to go. He can stretch his limbs and body to superhuman lengths and sizes. There is no known limit to how far he can stretch his body.
Jesus, that's OP.
Yeah, he's very, very overpowered.
He could just like kill everyone in the world. He could stab everyone if he wanted.
He could cover the whole world in himself and block out the sun and all oxygen if he wanted.
And he'd be fine. He would just live.
And he would just live because he's liquid and solid, so it doesn't matter.
Could he stretch to the moon?
I'm pretty sure he could, because they don't put a limit on how far he can stretch it.
Okay. Because Mr. Fantastic does have a limit. Like, he can't do it indefinitely.
Yeah, but they've never actually put a limit on Plastic Man. So his size alteration as well. So he can shrink himself down to a few inches tall. Or become a titan the size of skyscrapers if he wants.
Jesus.
Yeah. He has shape-shifting, so he can contort his body into various positions and sizes impossible for ordinary humans, such as being entirely flat so that he can slip under a door, or using his fingers to pick conventional locks. He can also use it for disguise by changing the shape of his face and body. In addition, he can also alter his bodily mass and physical constitution at will. There is virtually no limit to the sizes and shapes he can contort himself into.
That's cool as hell.
Yes. He has superhuman agility, superhuman strength, so he can alter his strength by growing or adding more muscles.
Of course. Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yes. The only limitation he has relates to colour, which he cannot change without intense concentration. He generally does not use this ability and sticks to his red and yellowed coloured uniform. So he can change colour, but it takes a lot more effort for him to change his whole physiology to whatever colour it is.
Yeah, so I imagine if it's a thing that he has to sit in a room for 8 hours, he's probably just going to be red and yellow.
Yes. So, if you were like undercover or something. So Plastic Man's, he's also invulnerable. So Plastic Man's his powers extraordinarily augment his durability. He's able to withstand corrosives, punctures and concussions without sustaining any injury.
That'd be nice for you, wouldn't it?
Not many people know, but I've had a few concussions.
You've had more concussions than one probably should have.
I once did a radio show with a concussion. That was very funny. You were there. It was very funny.
There. No, I wasn't there, Conor. You imagined that.
Who was I talking to? But I remember we had to do a live show, and I was playing sport the previous week, and I got a bang to the head, and then I couldn't read for long periods of time without being very sick. So we did the show, and you would think a stand-up guy like Shaun, he'd say, "Don't you worry, Conor, I'll put the show together and I'll do the reading." No, I was left to the usual reading afterwards.
We had our roles. We had our dynamic by that point.
We did the stories or whatever. We were doing the show, and then we played some music because obviously it's the radio, so there was breaks. And so every time I played some music, I just closed my eyes, and I was like, "Okay, we've got 5 minutes."
And I remember during the songs, I was like, "This is going good."
And you looked at me and I was like, "I think I'm gonna die."
Yeah, you were getting sick just by looking at a screen.
Oh, lads, it's funny now in hindsight, but at the time I really should have seen a doctor. So he is resistant to high velocity impacts that would kill an ordinary person, resistant to blasts from energy weapons, and he is completely bulletproof. His bodily mass can be dispersed, but for all intents and purposes, it is invulnerable.
Okay, that's a lot to take in.
Hang on, I'm not finished with all of his powers. He also has regeneration. He's able to regenerate and or assimilate lost or damaged tissue. Though it does take a long time, it's far faster than an ordinary human. He has immortality. Plastic Man does not appear to age, and if he does, it is at a rate far slower than that of normal humans. He has ultrasonic detection. His body will start to ripple when an ultrasonic frequency is triggered. Okay... That is the finish of his powers. So now you may comment.
That sounds like too many powers.
All of the powers.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's the only guy you need, really.
Yeah.
Because you can't defeat him.
And he gets no say in modern society, I don't think. Not many people know who Plastic Man is. But
no,
they have this guy that I think he would beat Superman. Or him and Superman would have a very, very big fight for a very long time.
Yeah, and I don't know how, just going back to the film, I don't know how that would translate to a movie. Whether that would be entertaining to watch.
Because he's almost too overpowered.
Yeah, so I guess you tell more human stories. If he's never able to die, that's going to take a toll on him.
Yeah, you do a Groundhog Day situation.
Yeah, where he's just bored.
Yeah.
There's no risk anymore.
He's also a skilled thief and a master detective. So, although no longer a criminal, he has an insight into the criminal mindset, enabling him to be an effective sleuth. A sleuth. Now, his weaknesses. I know what you're thinking. 1. Kryptonite. No.
No.
He has...
Cold.
Wrong. Heat.
Fuck.
Heat.
The other one.
Very close. He has a vulnerability to heat. His semi-liquid form remains stable at relatively high and low temperatures, provided that the temperature change is gradual. But however, a sudden change induces a complete change of phase, creating a truly solid or a truly liquid form. Plastic Man was incapacitated in a JLA story when mercenaries froze and shattered his body. Once thawed and reassembled, he was physically unharmed, but they were able to defeat him by drastically changing the temperature at a very sudden pace. So Plastic Man is shown to have some weakness to extreme heat, intense heat vision from a Martian, and was temporarily melted. Plastic Man's molecules can also be scrambled using ultrasonic wave distortions, so extreme levels of heat or cold can damage him.
Okay, that's a fair enough, and I guess if a villain knows that, it's pretty easy to take him out of the picture for a while.
Now, you can't kill him, but you can take him out, as you said. So, if you were fighting him, you just freeze him and then kick that. The leg will fall apart, but it will come back together, but you might take him out for 3 hours.
Yeah, like you've bought yourself time.
Yeah. He also has a vulnerability to chemical solvents, so Plastic Man loses his integrity when exposed to solvents such as acetone, which I have no idea what that is.
Acetone can be used to dissolve superglue and other such adhesives.
Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio. So his uniform is that he has the red and yellow, and he always wears goggles that are considered groovy. That is the end of my Plastic Man report. But I think he's a fascinating character.
Yeah, for a character I knew nothing about and who I thought was like on the same level as like Matter Eater Lad. You
yes.
know that they were just a nothing character. He is like a fascinating study. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago I introduced those monks. Seems like a long time ago.
It really it has been for everyone involved.
For everyone involved.
Does he still meet up with the monks every so often?
I think you just meet up for a bit of crack, like you just make up for a few pints and have another PowerPoint presentation. I'm assuming just on whatever the general thing is for those monks at that time.
Sure, they're brewing all that book fast.
I think they're set up a pyramid scheme.
Keep trying to sell me timeshares in Orlando.
Do you want to take us out, Shaun?
Yes, thanks everyone very much for listening to this episode of Hero or Zero. We'll be back on Monday with an episode of Movie Mondays, Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, and next Friday another episode of Hero or Zero. As Conor said up top, do send in any Weird News Wednesday suggestions you might have.
Or Q&A.
Or Q&A, anything you want, send them on in to us, even if you have any requests for Hero or Zero. We always enjoy getting those. So
Absolutely.
you can send them to us on Facebook, Heroes for Hire Podcast, Twitter at Heroes for Hire Pod, the 4 is the number 4, Instagram Heroes for Hire Podcast, or you can email us heroesforhire_@outlook.com.
Excellent.
Thanks, buddy. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Mean.
And we'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.